Thank you so much, Diane, for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. Would you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm happy to chat and share about my experience in my career. Um, a little bit about myself. My name is Diane Tran. I am a product manager at Amazon. I started off my undergrad in mathematics at UCLA, and I worked in the data analytics field for a number of years. For me, growing up in Silicon Valley, a lot of my inspirations were the leaders of those big tech companies like Steve Jobs and Sheryl Sandberg. And I thought that the best way for me to aspire to that career level would be to go to business school.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got my MBA from the Foster School of Business at the University of Washington. I went part-time and I was taking evening classes while working full-time as an analyst at Liberty Mutual Insurance. And after graduating, I felt like I was ready for career change out of insurance and into the tech industry, which is much more exciting, had a lot of growth. And that's how I ended up at Amazon. I'm a senior product manager for a team that owns an internal tool at Amazon that helps the retail side of the organization. And the tool helps teams manage their businesses by monitoring metrics such as like inventory levels or sales or promotional campaigns.
What was the motivation to get into the insurance business?
At first, I got into insurance because that was where just like my data analytics field brought me. For insurance, they're heavily relied on risk analysis along with pricing analysis. So like actuaries a lot of times will cater their career towards insurance. And my math background just kind of made it a good fit for that role.
Gotcha. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your process of getting into Amazon? Did you have a referral? What was your first role? And how did the interview process go? Like just in general?
Sure. I had a lot of classmates who ended up going to Amazon after graduation, and I had them refer me. I just looked through roles online and then asked them to submit my resume to open roles. I actually started at Amazon as a business intelligence engineer, so I wasn't on the product side at all. I was pulling data and building reports for the business. I leveraged my background in data analytics and got my foot into the door because I knew that I wanted to enter the tech industry. And then after some time, I expressed my interest in product management to my managers, and they helped me look for more responsibilities in that area so that I could build that skill set within the Amazon environment while still balancing my responsibilities as a business intelligence engineer. And the role that I'm currently in opened up. So that was my opportunity to fully transition from being a BIE to being a product manager.
Gotcha. That's interesting. So the interview process was just general Amazon type of interview process when you came in as a BIE as well, or did you have anything else there?
Yeah, so in the interview process, they will hit you with questions that revolve around the leadership principles, like for any role. So they asked me about a time where I had to dive deep into a problem, where I had to have backbone and, stand up for what I believed in was the right decision. So standard behavioral questions. And then because I was interviewing for the business intelligence engineer role, they did ask me to code out some SQL on the board because that is a requirement for the job. They need to know that I was able to write SQL and get data correctly.
Gotcha. Jumping into more of your role you're currently in as a senior product manager, can you tell me a little bit about like what you do and maybe your day-to-day as well?
Yeah, so as a product manager, I drive the vision for the product and move it forward by delivering enhancements that will delight customers. So to do that, I will, going through the entire product lifecycle, I'll start with doing customer interviews to understand what their needs are and what solutions would be valuable to them. Then I'll go and work with a UX designer to create like an intuitive product experience so that we're not just building features and hiding it in some small corner that can't be found or that it's confusing to work through. We want to deliver like a beautiful products like Steve Jobs does.
Or Jeff Bezos. Oh, I'm just kidding. No, yeah.
Yeah, so after coming up with those designs, you go back to the customer and you test those designs with the users to make sure that it works the way that they expect it to and that they can know what the next step is without you even prompting them. That's a sign of like a good product design. And then once we have the design laid down, then I'll work with engineering teams to make sure that they understand the product requirements and that they can build that feature in the desired way and in a timely manner to meet deadlines.
Of course,
Yep. And then after the feature launches, taking it further down the line, I'll monitor customer feedback to ensure that the product continues to deliver value and maintains a high quality bar.
Gotcha. So do you have a lot of meetings? Like, how does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, my day-to-day is a lot of meetings. I would say it's half meetings and then half heads down time to actually work out the details. I work with a lot of partner teams, so meetings with customers, meetings with engineering teams, meetings with other engineering teams that have the data that we're trying to get to and connect with. Yeah, so it's a lot of information gathering. And then once you have the information that you need, then I'll be able to like sit down by myself and really think through the idea, have like a design thinking session with myself and write it all down to share.
Gotcha. What do you like most about your role and what do you maybe like least?
What I like most about my role, I'll start with that, is I like that I'm building something, not in the engineering sense because I don't have that skill set, but I do get to mold what the product should look like. And I do get to see it grow from an idea to something that's real and in front of you and that can deliver value to customers and make their job easier. So I love that. Aspect about my role that I don't like is probably all of the engineering hurdles that I have to go through. A lot of times you'll meet with partners and they'll say, no, we can't allow you to access this because of legal reasons or because we're actually replacing this with some new feature, but not until next year. So then I'm stuck in limbo of trying to figure out what can I do in the interim to get this feature out when like I know a year from now it's going to have to be reworked.
Gotcha.
A lot of trade-offs. And that's the hard part.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what's one experience from early in your career that helped you build an unexpected skill that you use today?
Yeah, I would say one skill I developed early in my life was, so fun fact, I used to be a figure skater and I used to help my coach her kind of younger kids, like kids that are 5, 6, 7, just picking up the sport. So from that, I kind of found like my teaching bone, as you will.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I've always liked to guide people and teach and share knowledge when I can. So I've taken that throughout my career, and like I've tried to mentor new hires or
Yeah.
any new like people who are onboarding to Amazon. So I
Yeah.
and I've also expanded that to like build training curriculum at Amazon for data in particular. So that's one skill that I didn't expect that I
Yeah.
would have.
I love that answer. I love that answer. And fun fact, figure skating. Wow. Didn't know about that. I mean, we work at the same company, almost the same team, but tell me about your, tell me about Amazon's culture and maybe a little bit about work-life balance as well.
Sure. Yeah. Amazon culture, I'm sure you've heard rumors through the news, but I really like that Amazon gives you a lot of ownership to drive your own personal development. And that includes work-life balance. That includes where you want to pivot your career to. That allowed me to pivot from being an analyst or a BIE to being a product manager. With that, you have to learn to set your own boundaries on what you can and can't take on in order to protect your work-life balance. So for me, I learned very quickly that I couldn't say yes to anything, everything, which was hard for me because I'm a people pleaser. I want to be able to deliver on everything
Yep.
that is asked of me. But learning how to say no was such a valuable skill to learn, and I'll take that with me, for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. Something that I'm also working on. So I can definitely resonate that. My last question, advice for those who want to join Amazon or enter or break into product management.
Sure. I would say don't be afraid to leverage whatever you need to get your foot into the door, even if that means you're not going to land your dream job right away. In school, we learned that there's this like career matrix where like it's easy to shift or like change industries or change job titles, but it's not easy to go diagonally and change both your industry and your job title.
Mm-hmm.
So pick a direction and then move that way in 2 steps. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I did. I stayed in my data role
Mm-hmm.
and changed industries from insurance to tech.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I pivoted again to the product management role.
Mm-hmm.
So it might take a little bit longer, but at least it's progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. What about, do you have any advice for people who want to join Amazon?
Learn the leadership principles. Those are your key interviewing tips. So a lot of our interview questions are geared towards how you can exemplify each one of those leadership principles. So come up with different stories that will hit 1 or 2 or even 3 leadership principles in that same story, so that you can cover all your bases.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, those make total sense. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it from me. Thank you so much, Diane, for your time again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.